Hello, everybody. This is the April 19th version of the Pathways Virtual Support Session. Just want to let you know that we are going to be covering some suggestions and tips along with our questions. We'll share some information, and then if there is if there are any additional questions, we'll go ahead and take those. If for any reason we start approaching about the 35-minute level, we'll go ahead and stop the session, have everybody log off, and then log back in again, because we are using the free version of Zoom, and they will log you off after 40 minutes with 3 or more participants. So again, my name is TK O'Geary, and this is the April 19th Pathways Virtual Support Session. So here's a suggestion for your club. If you have anybody that's working on a level, great. Have that person just, support them to the extent possible. And if you don't really have anybody that's started down the path of going down the path of pathways, go ahead and encourage somebody to do that. There's a lot of learning that will occur in several areas when this happens. So the member is going to learn what it's like to go through educational activities in Pathways, and then submitting for their levels for achievement. And then the base camp managers are going to learn as well. And if you recall, the base camp managers is your vice president of education, or the president, or the secretary. And they will get the experience of receiving an email from base camp and then acting on that email. Typically what it is it's confirming the level achievement to open up the next levels for the member that'll go through. So really encourage somebody to go ahead and go through the process. For at least one level, there's lots and lots of learning that will occur. And as of today, April 19th, 2018, we've had 17 Pathways achievements from 10 people across 5 clubs. So there's lots of opportunities to get out there in the clubs and go ahead and get some achievements and see how that all works. Just need at least one level for one person, and you'll be able to kick the tires. Does the email work? Does the process work? Do I need to do anything different? How do I close things out? And go back and look at some of those past recordings that we've had here to see if there's anything that'll help out in that area. Here's a reminder. To properly provide member achievement credit in Pathways, there's 2 actions that need to take place. So in Pathways, if you go through, say, a level completion, level 1 completion, you've got all of your activities done, and then you click submit, then that makes sure that it gets a message to the base camp manager, and then the base camp manager, when they click approve or accept, then it unlocks that next level for the member. So it's very critical to do that in Pathways. Second of all, the vice president of education, or whomever you designate that in the club, it doesn't have to be the base camp manager. Someone needs to submit the achievement onto Toastmasters.org, not the member that's got the achievement. That will register the credit in the Distinguished Club Program dashboard for the club. So anytime anybody ever completes a level in Pathways, make sure that these 2 actions are completed to make sure everything is up to date. So here's a question. If I'm a member of 2 clubs, I have my first path selected, how do I receive my second free path? A few folks are wanting to go ahead and start on their second path while they're still in their first path. And to get your second free path, you must call or email World Headquarters Supply Orders. And the email address, you can put supplyorders@toastmasters.org. Now, just remember, you had to be a member of 2 clubs when Pathways rolled out in District 23, which is Region 3. So if you weren't a member of 2 clubs at that time, you'll have to pay for the second path. And then number 2, be aware that right now Toastmasters International is going through a major move to Colorado, and there's a lot of activities coming up the latter part of April. So the responsiveness may not quite be the same as it's been in the past. So if you want to get to that second path, don't wait. Now, some people have asked, how do I change the club email? And the club email is what's used for the base camp manager communication. So when some member hits submit that they've completed a level, there will be an email from the Pathways environment sent to the email that's listed as the club email. So some of the recommendations have been have that be an email that's accessible by at least your Vice President of Education, the President, and the Secretary, which are the base camp managers, or have it accessible to all of the officers. If it's sent to just one person, like it might be Joe Smith's email, then that person, if they're not the Vice President of Education, needs to make sure that they get that information to the Vice President of Education or the President or the Secretary so that they can go ahead and act on it. So once you've logged in, and in this particular case, you've seen that I've logged in, go down to the Leadership Central and click on Club Central. From Club Central, you'll be able to choose if you're a member of more than one club. In this particular case, chose As We Speak, the club that's working through the accredited speaker process as a basis for that club's environment. So it meets online for many of its folks. Then you just go ahead and click that so you get your right club. And then you scroll down a little bit and you'll see club administration. There's club contact and meeting information. So this is where you put the email for your club. And keep in mind, the email that the base camp managers will receive, from is the same email that is used on the Find a Club feature on the Toastmasters.org website. So if you've got your Vice President of Public Relations there, then they'll need to be aware. You'll have to work out a process that if somebody goes ahead and submits an achievement, it will go to that person. If in that case, that's going to be the Vice President of Education. So make sure whoever can access those emails that are set up in Club Central right here are people who can either communicate to the Vice President of Education or would include the Vice President of Education. And then just the final step in entering your email is once you've gone on this particular screen, click Club Contact and Meeting Information. Then you go ahead here and you get the email. So in this particular case, you can update the email here or make it this, different in some fashion. Well, strike it all out, re-enter it, whatever you want to do. That is what is used as the club contact and the base camp manager role. So that is our activity here for today on the April 19th Pathways Virtual Support Session. If you have any questions, go ahead and contact me, TKO Geary. I believe there's still the screen that is on the District 23 website listing your Pathways guides. So feel free to email me or any of the other Pathways guides. We're here to help you. And happy journeys. And let us know what's going on in your club regarding the Pathways achievements. Thanks.